Hey guys, how are you? It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur, and you are tuned into IFYL Inspirations for Your Life. I'm happy you're here tonight. This is our last episode for the master topic of this week. You know, we start on Saturday with a brand new one, and we roll through the week, and we finish up on a Friday. Great to have you here. So if you're new here and you're watching us, launch your camera app on your phone. Go ahead and point it over the QR code, touch the ellipse. You'll get my link tree, just like that. If you're not watching us, but you are just listening to us, then go to believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing creations. And a big thank you to everyone, whether you're watching us at noon, 12 midnight, 6 a.m., 6 p.m., 4 a.m., 4 p.m., whatever time you watch. Thank you so much for making Inspirations for Your Life a daily part of your motivation in your day. All right. Our master topic is How to Break Out of Your Shell, Series 2, which means we're in the second year, Show 27, episode number 7. Wow. That's a lot. We are on our second year and we're almost halfway through our second year. This is absolutely incredible. All right, so let's talk about tonight's topic, and that is how to break out of your shell, show 27, episode 7. So what is a shell? And I want to go back to Merriam-Webster. I'm not going to read all of them because, you know, there are a lot of definitions if you remember. I want to just talk about one or two. It's a hard, rigid, usually a largely calcareous covering or support of an animal. The hard or tough, often thin outer covering of an egg. Okay. That's one definition to help us understand, but I want to talk about another definition. Okay. And this other definition deals with more of an impersonal attitude or manner that conceals the presence or absence of feeling. Let me say that again. An impersonal attitude or manner that conceals the presence or absence of feeling. Yeah, that's what I mean by a shell. All right. So let's talk a little more about shell. How do you know if I'm in a shell? Well, if it's me and I don't feel like I'm interacting with the world, or I'm like staying inside and I'm really not talking to people, or I'm just like being more aware of only myself and nothing outside of me, chances are I'm in a shell. And so, how do you know if others are in a shell? Well, that's a great question. Others are in a shell if you see them very introverted. Introverted. So, what does that mean? So, let's go to our friends, Merriam Webster, and let's look up the word introvert. Introvert is a noun. It's a person whose personality is characterized by introversion, a typically reserved or a quiet person who tends to be introspective and enjoys spending time alone. Now, there are times when we want to be an introvert, right? We want to have our me time, but we can't make every single moment of our life be about introvert. We can't do that. We have to connect with the world. Otherwise, we'll never be able to network. We'll never be able to grow. We'll never be able to expand. All right. So other people are introverts when maybe they're reading a book. I know when I was I believe I was in grammar school. At that time, you really weren't into the thing of like reading books. I don't think I got into reading books until I still wanted to read books until I got into like high school, because you had to start reading books, summer reading list, right? And I remember the first time I did it was like not something I enjoyed, but then I started to really enjoy it. What I want to say to you is that a neighbor of ours down the street, a friend of mine, he was definitely an introvert because all he would do is he would have his book and he would just be doing this all the time. He would just be, his face would be covered. He'd always be into a book. And he might play video games, but it was just like with himself. And he was just very non-social. Somebody who didn't want to talk, somebody who would use like one or two words. I actually had someone a couple of years ago that was a friend of mine. Then they moved away. They were very introverted. They were all into themselves. And to get them just to like experience anything or to share feelings was like an act of a miracle. And you might be saying to me, hey, John, you know, Is that true? Yeah, it is true. And so people go into shells for a lot of reasons. One, they're afraid. Second, and we know that afraid is being fear, false evidence appearing real, right? They go into shells because they don't know how to do something. They don't know how to respond. They're embarrassed. They're shy. They just want to be left alone because they feel it's more comfortable. They don't like being uncomfortable. And let's face it, when you start out from being an introvert to being an extrovert, it's gonna be a little uncomfortable, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to do that. It's definitely gonna be uncomfortable. And you might be saying to me, "Hey, John, how, why, when?" And I think it comes down to the fact that it's really up to you. And when I say up to you, I mean this in a very interesting way. Okay. I mean it because if you understand what it is to be an introvert or why you shouldn't be an introvert, because you're going to miss everything in life. You're going to miss everything. And you might be saying to me, "Hey, John, why?" Well, because you have to understand, okay? And if you understand, then you'll be able to apply yourself. See, someone who's an introvert is not someone who is going to be able to think on their feet. Now, they can as long as it's not with other people. Let me say that again. They can as long as it's not with other people. That sounds pretty crazy, doesn't it? But it's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. It's like they want to do something for whatever reason, and then they just don't. And the reason they don't is because they're like, what ifing themselves? Well, what if this? What if that? What if all this other stuff? What if, right? And so you might say, well, gee, that's great. But how do you get from here to there? And it's not a hard thing. It's really about you making a choice to get from point A to point B. Okay. That's what it's about. And I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that your life can be so much better when you learn, okay, how it is you need to do something. And that might sound like something that's really like, I don't know, out there, but it's not. People stay introverts because they feel they don't have to report to anybody, they don't have to do anything. That's why they stay introverts. Uh, they typically don't want to be on a team. And if they're on a team, well, then they pretty much decide that they don't want to do anything. And the reason they don't want to do anything is because they know the last time they did something, it didn't turn out so well. And so, does that mean that they shouldn't become an extrovert? No. I said to you that it's not going to be comfortable, right? It's not going to be comfortable. And if it's not comfortable, then you're going to be like, I didn't say painful. I said it's going to be a little bit of discomfort. I remember many years ago when I had my wisdom teeth taken out. We always think about pain because you've talked to other friends like, oh, yeah, it was painful. But the doctor described it in a very interesting way. He said, it's not going to be painful, but it is going to give you some discomfort. It is going to give you some discomfort. Why? Well, because they're cutting your gum, right? And I think a lot of people don't quite get it. When we see something as discomforting, we're more likely to do it. If we see something as painful, we're not going to do it. So I just accepted, okay, there's going to be some discomfort. Of course, you're cutting a gum. Of course, there's going to be discomfort, right? It's going to feel different. Now, that doesn't mean pain. It just means it's going to be different than what it was before. Okay? It's going to be different to what it was before. And if we understand that premise, okay, I believe then we will be able to make a huge jump in our life. That's right. I said a huge jump in our life. But if you don't do that, then you might be saying to me, "Oh, John, I can't. Like, I can't do that." And the reason you can't do that is because you might have failed before. Remember, I said this before. You haven't quit, okay, unless you've stopped, right? You haven't failed unless you've quit. So you're not a quitter, but you are getting frustrated. So I think sometimes people don't want to get out of their shell because they're afraid of what other people are going to think. They're afraid about what kind of downtime they might have, or they just can't face someone, or maybe in the fact that they might have to now do something on their own. Yeah, that's a tough one. They may have to do something all on their own. And if you got to do something on your own and you don't have supporters right away, I bet that's probably going to feel a little bit awkward, isn't it? Yeah, you got it. It's going to feel awkward. So if it's going to feel awkward and you know it's going to feel awkward from the get go, then why not be prepared for that? Right? Why not be prepared for that? If that's the case, then I will tell you that you can do it, but you have to get over the fact that it is a mental mindset. Yes, it is a mental mindset. If it's a mental mindset, then once you get over that hurdle, it's like, oh, well, that wasn't so bad, or that wasn't as bad as I made it seem, right? A lot of times we make things 100 times worse than what they really are. Not because we want to, but because of that word, fear. Fear. That's our whole problem. It's because of fear. And if we just can learn to think from the fact that, we actually can do more than we think. We are more powerful, we are more intelligent than we think we are. And if we would give ourselves that credit, I believe we would be prepared to be highly, highly amazed. Yeah, I said highly amazed. And by being highly amazed, I think that will just take it to a whole new level. A whole new level. A level that's going to allow you to be able to learn from your mistakes. You can learn from others. So this is why people go in shells. They go in shells because they had a bad relationships. They go in a shell because they just don't want to have confrontation, or they go in a shell because they just feel that it'll be safer that way. It'll just be more comfortable. It'll be easier. But we've learned before that you have a choice to take the road that's more traveled or the road that's least traveled or never traveled. And it's always best to take the road that's never traveled, because you'll learn more and you'll be able to create along the way. The road that's more traveled is already going to be mainstream, and it's going to be old news. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. You know what? It has been an amazing privilege, of course, a pleasure, and an honor to be with you this fantastic Friday as we wrap up, yes, a very, very interesting topic. And if you guys didn't catch the topic before, I'll share it with you one more time. The topic is, ladies and gentlemen, yes, how to break out of your shell. I hope that you will like, love, and support the channel below. Definitely tag your friends, colleagues, and associates. Share this out with everyone you know on social media. Go to my YouTube channel, John Space E Space MRLAY Space Serial Entrepreneur. Look for that key phrase, help keep our content free. Make the choice, ladies and gentlemen, to buy my team and I a cup of coffee, a bowl of fruit, or perhaps even a savory dessert plate. And you know what? We will invest those pennies into new hardware, new technology, new equipment, new software, even new facilities to give you the most jaw dropping, motivational content to empower you to become an even better version of yourself. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday. I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new master topic. Be well, everyone.